Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ya Kundenu Tusharahara Dhavala Ya Subhavastra Ya Veena Varadanda Manditakara Ya Sweta Padmasana Ya Brahma Chuta Shankara Prabhitibir Devi Sada Vandita Samam Patu Saraswati Bhagavati Buddhi Pradam Sarade Buddhi Pradam Sarade. Jai Gurudev. Welcome everybody. Today we speak about the life and the teachings of Guru Ram Das, who is the fourth Guru in the lineage starting with Guru Nanak. And he was born in the 16th century, 1534, in Lahore, which is present-day Pakistan. And some say that he received the name Ram Das at birth, but some say that his parents called him Jetha, or Bhai Jetha, which means the oldest. So he had two younger siblings. And interestingly, his life took an unexpected turn very early on in his life. When he was only 7 years old, he became an orphan. Both his parents died. And him and his siblings grew up with their grandmother. But also the grandmother, it was not easy for her to take care of these children. And so actually the children were already working at a very young age. So from the very beginning, Guru Ram Das didn't have an easy life. But throughout his life, you can see that it was really these challenges that really shaped him into becoming the person he became. Yeah, so him and his siblings, they were selling grains. They would carry, grains on their heads and walk to the market and sell them. But there's an anecdote told that once, even on his very first time of selling these grains, he saw a group of sadhus, and then instead of charging them any money, he just gave away everything he had. So it was moments like these where you could already tell that he was a very special child and that he had this spirit of service in him, naturally. Yeah. And so eventually, Guru Amar Das, who was the present Sikh Guru at the time, was traveling, and Guru Ram Das, or back then Bhai Jetha, saw him. Yeah, and there was immediately some kind of attraction. And eventually it happened that Bhai Jetha moved to where Guru Amar Das was staying, right, to serve his Guru, because he recognized that this person is not just an ordinary person, but it's the person I want to serve. Yeah. So this happened already at a very young age. He was still a young boy. But even at such a young age, he was working very hard. But on a spiritual path, we don't call it work, but we call it seva. Because in work, when we use the word work, there's always a certain kind of expectation, whether that's money, whether that's position, recognition. But on the spiritual path, we talk about seva, which is a selfless service. Just service for the sake of serving, for the sake of love. Yeah, and so already as a young child, he was serving very, very hard in his guru's, you wouldn't call it ashram, but he was doing service to the guru, to the community. So that included construction work, that included working in the kitchen or providing, let's say, cutting fire, wood for the big pots, such that everybody could be fed and so on. And so eventually, the daughter of Guru Amar Das reached an age where she should be married. Yeah, and then the wife of Guru Amar Das pointed to this young man by Jeta and said, I want my daughter to marry someone like him. Because it was really incredible how he was serving and what kind of dedication he was showing every day. And then Guru Amar Das told her, you know, I resonate with your request, but there's a problem because there's no one like him. You want our daughter to marry someone like him, but there is no one like him. Yeah? Which reminds me of the Leela of Krishna. We all know that he was born to Devaki and Vasudeva. But in their previous life, even the life before that, they were Sutapa and Prishni. And they were very devoted to the Lord. They were doing a lot of penance, and they were praying to the Lord, saying, please, we would like you to grant us a child that is like you. And also the Lord said, well, there's no one like me. So then he himself became their child. So it was similar here with Guru Amar Das and this young boy by Jeta. There was no one like him, so the daughter had to marry him if there was, a husband like him. And at that time, especially for the wife of Guru Amar Das, 3 things were quite important for a potential groom for her daughter. The first one was a house. Yeah, the groom should have a nice house. Bhaijeta didn't have any house. He was an orphan. He wasn't left with material opulence. He didn't inherit great wealth materially. So he didn't have a great house to provide for the daughter. So first point. Second point, he was supposed to have a lot of food, or his house was supposed to have a lot of food such that the wife and the family, the potential children, would always have something to eat. No? It's a very basic requirement. But also there, he didn't have anything of himself. Right? He was just serving the community, and he didn't have an income or anything like that. And the third was, he should come from a respectable family. He should have a great family. But also there, he was an orphan, so his parents died. Eventually also his grandmother passed away, and all his other relatives abandoned him. So if you insist on these 3 points, that he should have a great house, he should have a lot of food or a lot of, let's say, money, and he should have a great, respectable family. He wasn't ticking any of these boxes, apparently. But then Guru Amar Das said, listen, my dear, this young man, he will make such a house like the world has never seen. And millions of people will come visit that house which he will build. Then the second point, food. He was saying to his wife, you worry about a few rotis, but he will make a kitchen that will serve hundreds of thousands of pilgrims every week. And then the third, family. He might be an orphan without children, without parents, but his family will encompass millions and millions. Such a family he will have. And already there, Guru Amar Das was seeing something in Bhaijeta which no one else could see. And it's the same for our own Gurudev, no? He sees that which we don't see, which other people don't see. But he sees through that veil of Maya, he sees through that false identity which we have, and he sees what is truly hidden inside. Yeah? And that's why he gives us so many tools, that's why he gives us so much teachings. That's why he gives us so much constantly and constantly, because he sees that spark inside of us, and he knows that that spark can turn into a huge flame of love for God. Yeah. So Guru Amar Das saw this potential in Bhaijeta, that eventually one day he would become the guru of the Sikhs, and he would become the spiritual leader of that community. And so he actually was married to the daughter. Yeah. But even though he was married to the daughter of the guru, which is, a very, very prestigious position in that community of the Sikhs, he was still doing a lot of seva, very hard seva. Yeah, because they were digging ponds, they were doing construction work, they were, feeding so many people every day. So there was a lot of seva to be done. And it happened that, the parts of the family that had abandoned Bhaijeta, they had heard that he got married to the daughter of the guru. So they became interested and said, okay, there's a relative of us. We might not know him too well, but he has some good position, good societal position. So let's see what he's up to. And then eventually they came, and Bhaijeta was in the process of digging something, or some say that he was carrying some mud on his head, and his kurta and everything got full of mud, and he was probably sweating because he was working so hard, he was doing so much seva. And then they asked him, where can we find the husband of the guru's daughter? Tell us. But they didn't realize that they were speaking to the very husband of the guru's daughter. And realizing this, they criticized him so much, how he could be in such a good, position. In such a position, some people would think he could relax, he could just live a good life. But he was doing so much seva, working so hard. And they said, you're bringing shame on our family. Look at you. You're all dirty. You're all covered in mud. What is this? And in the Sikh Guru Granth Sahib, we find these words of Guru Amar Das. He says, some speak good of me and some speak ill of me, but I've surrendered my body to you. Because he was such a sincere servant of the Guru and of the Lord. Yeah? And how often does this happen in our own life? For sure you can relate when you when you found the spiritual path or when you found Guruji, for sure your friends were criticizing you. For sure your relatives were criticizing you. And whoever else, maybe your colleagues at work or whoever else was speaking ill of you. But at the end of the day, what does it matter? If you're true to what you believe, if you're true to what you know is right, who cares what anybody else will say? Yeah? So again, some speak good of me and some speak ill of me, but I've surrendered my body to you. And this was the conviction of Bhai Jeta, Guru Amar Das. Guru Ram Das. They have very similar names somehow, so please excuse my slip of tongue if it happens here and there. And even though he was doing so much seva and he was so surrendered to his guru, still Guru Amar Das was testing him. So it happened that one day there was another sevak, or a sevadar, as the Sikhs would say, who was also serving so much. His name was Ram Ji. And Guru Amar Das asked these two disciples of his, Ram Ji and Bhai Jeta, to build a platform for him. Some say like a seat for him to sit on. So he asked them to build it for him. And so he described exactly how it should be built, the measurements, etc. So they built it for him, for Guru Amar Das, but Guru Amar Das was not satisfied. Yeah, so he told them to again tear it down and to again start from scratch and build it again. Guruji actually tells this story in his Guru Gita commentary. And after the third or fourth time, Ramji was getting irritated because at that age or at that time, Guru Amar Das had already reached quite an advanced age. So he was saying, I'm not sure what this is. You give us the exact plan how to build it, the exact measurements, we do a perfect job, and still you're not satisfied. What is this? He became really upset. And so eventually he just refused to build another platform. He was totally fed up. But Bhai Jeta just persisted. And again and again and again, he would build this platform exactly according to plan. Already the first time was perfect, actually. But Guru Amar Das kept insisting, tear it down, do it again, do it again, do it again. Until eventually, Bhai Jeta, instead of becoming upset, instead of becoming irritated, instead of getting frustrated, he just fell at the feet of Guru Amar Das and was saying, my Guru, my Lord, I'm so sorry that I cannot please you. But how merciful you are. You give me a chance again and again and again. Yeah? So here he says in Sikh Guru Granth Sahib, O dear Lord, you're the honor of the dishonored. You make the unworthy ones worthy, O my Lord of the universe. I'm a sacrifice to your almighty creative power. Like the child innocently making thousands of mistakes, his father teaches him and scolds him so many times, but still he hugs him close in his embrace. So this is so amazing when we read, when we hear these kinds of stories of the saints, of the great beings, how much faith they had, how much persistence they had, and how much, especially, humility they had. Yeah? Because whenever we're told to do something, especially by the Guru, we have our own understanding of how it's supposed to be. How it should be according to our plan, our ideas. But often what we have in mind is not necessarily the best. And so when the Guru crushes our expectations, crushes our desires, crushes our fantasies, this is where the true character really shines forth. Yeah. But here Guru Ramdas was so humble that he didn't get upset at the Guru, even though materially speaking, or from an outside perspective, he had every right to do so. You know, suppose your boss at work tells you again and again to do the same thing, and he's never satisfied, even though the very first time you did your job properly, it was already perfect. No, everybody would get upset. No, and then because we're spiritual and because it's from Guruji, you know, we try, but still our ego gets hurt. But it's exactly in these situations where true humility can come into play. Yeah. And so eventually he had 3 sons, Guru Ramdas. The oldest was Priti Chand, then Mahadev, and the youngest was Arjan. Then when he was 40 years of age, he became the successor to the throne, as they call it, or the Guru Gadi, so the throne of the Guru of the Sikh community. And at that point, Guru Amar Das was already very, very advanced in age. Yeah? But he was the Guru actually only for 7 years. Yeah? Until he left his mortal frame. But still, in this time, he accomplished so much. And this prediction, in a sense, of Guru Amar Das, which he had made to his wife, that he would build such a house that would be visited by millions, that he would provide food for thousands and hundreds and thousands of pilgrims, and that he would have a huge family, meaning the whole Sikh community. This really became true. And he began developing Ramdaspur, which then later became known as Amritsar. You could say probably one of the most famous sites of pilgrimage for the Sikh, where they have this golden palace. They call it the Har Mandir Sahib. So you could say the holiest temple for the Sikh. And interestingly, he also appointed his youngest son as the next Guru. Yeah. So also Guru Amar Das was throned the Guru, even though his predecessor, Guru Angad, he had an older son, but he didn't give the throne to his own son. And also here, in Guru Ramdas' life, he could have given the throne to Priti Chand, but he gave it to Guru Arjan. Because, again, as Guru Amar Das saw that light in Guru Ramdas, he also saw that light in his youngest son. Yeah. So often in the world, everything's a show. No? We're so based on external things. We have a certain concept in our mind, but the Guru doesn't play by these rules which we have in our mind. He doesn't play by the script of ordinary society, but he just does whatever needs to be done. Whatever is the will of the Lord, that manifests through the Guru. Right. So eventually, when he was 47, he passed on, and Guru Arjan Dev became the next Guru. Okay, now we've heard a little bit about his life, and I'd like to just discuss a few of his teachings as found in the Guru Granth Sahib and how they resonate with Guruji's teachings. Because this for me is always very beautiful to read the life, to read the teachings of saints and see how much of Guruji's teaching you can actually find there. So he says the following. Without the Lord's name, nothing is steady or stable. All the rest of the show is useless. What is there to accept and what is there to reject, O madman? Whatever is seen shall turn to dust. That poison which you believe to be your own, you must abandon it and leave it behind. What a load you have to carry on your head. Moment by moment, instant by instant, your life is running out. The fool cannot understand this. He does things which will not go along with him in the end. This is the lifestyle of the faithless cynic. So I titled this slide, The Game of the World. Because this is the game that 99%, 99 point something percent, 100%, less than 100% are playing. This is the game of the world. No? We're also attached to all the things that are completely perishable and that are weighing us down. And this is a very foolish thing to do. Because suppose you want to climb a very high mountain. Ideally, you just take a very light backpack, just with the essentials. But instead, often what we do is we try to carry suitcases and suitcases and suitcases. Yeah? So this mountain represents a spiritual journey where we want to reach the top. And all these bags, these are all our attachments. And of course, these are not external things, but all the negative qualities we hold inside of us. All the limitations we've put on ourselves. Often the question is, if there's a God, why does he allow suffering? No? Any atheist pretty much will ask that question. Any agnostic, they will ask that question. You say there's a God, why is there suffering in this world? A good God should make sure that there is no suffering. But see, suppose someone takes a knife and tries to run after someone else. Someone can stop that person, no? But if you take that knife and you kill yourself with that knife, who's going to stop you? No one can stop. And it's the same. Guruji often says, the Lord sent us here into this creation, but he never told us, he never asked us to get attached. He never asked us to become miserable. But what do? We become attached, and through that, we become miserable. Because whatever is great joy, whatever we derive great pleasure from, that very thing one day can become the source of all our misery, all our problems. Yeah? And so here he says, that poison which you believe to be your own, you must abandon it and leave it behind. What a load you have to carry on your head. If we carry that load, how are we going to climb that very steep mountain? It's not going to happen. It's going to be much, much, much more difficult. Yeah. But in a sense, he gives a solution in the beginning. Without the Lord's name, nothing is steady or stable. All the rest of the show is useless. Because this is, you could say, life in a sense. The world, it's all a big stage and everyone is playing their role. But we become so attached to the role and we forget that, in a sense, it's all a cosmic play. And that we're actually the witness to this great play. Yeah. And then you live life very differently. Okay. Another passage from the Guru Granth Sahib. O camel-like mind, you're so fickle, you're so unsteady, you're so restless. Give up your cleverness and corruption. Dwell upon the name of the Lord, Har. We could say Hari. At the very last moment, the Lord shall liberate you. O camel-like mind, you're so very fortunate. Dwell upon the jewel of spiritual wisdom. You hold in your hands the sword of the Guru's spiritual wisdom. With this destroyer of death, kill the messenger of death. The treasure is deep within, O camel-like mind, but you wander around outside in doubt, searching for it. Meeting the perfect Guru, the primal being, you shall discover that the Lord, your best friend, is with you. You're engrossed in pleasures. O camel-like mind, dwell upon the Lord's lasting love instead. Who feels like this is actually a tweet from Guruji? Sounds very much like it, no? So there's so much wisdom in this. It's really incredible. He's speaking about the jewel of spiritual wisdom and how this treasure is deep within. No, Guruji often tells a story how someone has lost his glasses and he's looking outside of the house, and then some people come and ask, why are you searching? Where have you left the glasses? And then the guy says, oh, I left them in the house. Then they ask, why are you searching for it here? Because there's light and inside it's dark. I can't see. But yeah, this is really the game of the world. Everyone's looking for that happiness, but no one recognizes that jewel of the Guru's wisdom and that jewel in the form of the Lord's name, and we mistake it as just a glass pebble. Then there was another one. Hold in your hands the sword of the Guru's spiritual wisdom. With this, destroyer of death, kill the messenger of death. It very much reminds me of chapter 3 of the Gita, where Krishna says, with the sword of spiritual wisdom, cut down this enemy in the form of desire. No, end of chapter 3. Same. O camel-like mind. So the question to you, why does he say the mind is like a camel? So only a... Okay, so potentially a biblical reference? Okay, I think it's a difficult one, so... Yes, yes. Yes, exactly. Yes. So, Guruji comments on the Shandilya Bhakti Sutra. The camel in the desert likes to eat thorny creepers, you know? And those thorny creepers prick its tongue, hurts its lips, and blood comes out. But do you think the camel will stop eating? No. The camel carries on chewing this prickly creeper even if it has hurt its mouth. There is no end to such desire. Exactly. That is why the mind is like a camel. Because it's getting... You know, the camel is biting these creepers. It's looking for happiness, but it's getting so much pain. Also, Guruji gives the analogy of a dog that's biting a dry bone, and he's getting so much relishment from it, but it's actually his own blood that he's licking. Yeah. So the mind, if we observe our mind, it's very much the same, no? We look for that happiness in places where we only get suffering. Yeah. Okay. Another beautiful passage from Guru Granth Sahib. The Ganga, the Yamuna, the Godavari, and the Saraswati. These rivers strive for the dust of the feet of the holy. Overflowing with their filthy sins, the mortals take cleansing baths in them. The river's pollution is washed away by the dust of the feet of the holy. Instead of bathing at the 68 sacred shrines of pilgrimage, take your cleansing bath in the name. It's incredible how many stories come into my mind, which Guruji has told, which could be told here, but we only have very limited time. So I'm thinking what to say. You know, once when Ganga descended on this earth, her mission was to purify everybody, but she was worried because everybody takes a bath in her and purifies themselves of their sins. But what's going to happen to her? Yeah? Who's going to purify her? And then it was said, the devotees that take bath in you, they will purify you. Because so many people go on pilgrimage, but they fail to see that the true purpose of pilgrimage is association with the sadhus, with a guru. Because a place is not going to purify you. But the teaching which you get in that place, that's where the real purification can happen. No? You can prove this to yourself. You can go to so many holy places, and without judgment, just from a place of observing, ask yourself if everyone's holy there, if everything's so holy. And especially look at yourself in that holy place, how holy you are in your mind. Not very holy, usually, no? Yeah. So this pilgrimage, of course, in Bhakti Marga, we also do pilgrimage, and it's very beautiful, but we do it for the true purpose of pilgrimage, to associate with the Guru and to bathe in his teachings. And that's where the real purification happens. Because when the saints, when the Guru, they speak of purification, they don't usually mean the purification which can be accomplished by taking a bath, taking a shower. Also, there's a story in the life of Guru Arjan where there was a very rich boy, and he wanted, for the very first time in his life, he wanted to do some service because he saw Guru Arjan was so great, so he wanted to render service. And he said to him, "You're the first person I actually want to serve. Before, I had so many servants at home, and they were all serving me, but I would like to render some service." So one day, Guru Arjan was very thirsty, so the boy brought him some water. But Guru Arjan refused and said, this water which you give me, this is dirty. I cannot accept it. And the boy was really confused because he said, this is pure water, it's a pure vessel, and I just brought it from the river, so the source is very pure. But he's saying, but your hand is impure. And he said, yeah, I wash my hands, everything, the vessel is pure, the water is pure, my hands are pure. What is not pure? And he said, yeah, but you are not pure. Yeah, your hand is not pure because you have not performed any service. And when Guru Ramdas was serving, he was serving with his whole body. He was doing heavy construction work. And that's the real way to purify the body, is by serving. And that's the real purification. It's not taking a bath in a holy lake, like in Vitaldam, or the Ganga or Yamuna or any lake like that, without having that spirit of service, of Seva, no real purification is going to happen. And he also says, take your cleansing bath in the name of the Lord, because that's what purifies our mind. Externally, this body can be purified with soap, but our mind can be purified with the teaching of the Guru and with the name of the Lord. Sant Namdev says the same. I know we're discussing Guru Ramdas, but just from Sant Namdev, it's just too fitting. By the way, Sant Namdev is also in the Guru Granth Sahib. He says, I will not go on pilgrimages, nor bathe in holy waters, nor cause pain to animals. Yeah, he's making a reference to animal sacrifice, which was prevalent at that time in many religions, also Hinduism. All the 68 holy places my master has shown me within my body. Only here I will bathe. So much wisdom in these few lines. He's saying, I don't care about external pilgrimage places. I don't care about external things, because my Lord resides everywhere, but ultimately I have to find him within. That's what Sant Namdev is saying, and that's what Guruji's constantly saying. Almost every satsang, he will say something like that. Then there's one interesting concept which you will find in many places throughout the Guru Granth Sahib, not just from Guru Ramdas. The self-willed Manmukhs die of their egotism over and over again. They're destroyed by death's demons, and they must go to the city of death. It's quite dramatic. The Gurmukhs are lovingly attached to the Lord, Har Har, which is in Hari. Their pains of both birth and death are taken away. It's this concept of Manmukh versus Gurmukh. And Man here means mind, like in mantra. And Mukh, Mukha in Sanskrit also is the face. So we have Chatur Mukha, Brahma with four heads. So Mukh is face. So what does mind, face mean? It's someone who is turned towards, because when we turn our face towards something, it's another way of saying we're following that thing. So a Manmukh is someone who follows their mind. And the Gurmukh is someone who follows the teachings of the Guru. And every day, in every moment literally, we always have that choice, who we want to be. If we want to be a follower of the mind or a follower of the teachings of the Guru. And, whenever we try to do some self-analysis, some introspection, it's quite shocking how much throughout the day we try to follow, or not try to follow, but we naturally follow our mind. It is so easy, no? And how, to what extent we really truly follow the Guru's teachings. Yeah. And this is something that where self-introspection, self-analysis is so important, is so revealing, because otherwise how are we going to know? It's not that Guruji is going to come to our face and say, oh, you're not following my teaching. You're doing this mistake, you're doing that. It's actually a blessing if he would actually tell us to our face, but it's not going to happen. Yeah, but it's a matter of looking at ourselves honestly and just reflecting, how much am I following my mind and how much am I truly following the Guru's teaching? How much am I a Manmukh, here in the words of the Guru Granth, or how much am I a Manmukh or Gurmukh? He says the Gurmukhs are lovingly attached to the Lord, and their pains of both birth and death are taken away, which is a poetic way of saying they attain liberation. And the other, the Manmukhs, those who follow their mind, whatever desire comes into their mind, whatever imagination comes into their mind, they naturally follow that. And we all do to some extent. Then we go into the city of death, which means it's a way of saying, again and again, we come into the city of death, which is this material body. Yeah. Okay. I have found the perfect Guru through great good fortune. He has given me the mantra of the Lord's name, and my mind has become quiet and tranquil. Has it? Has it? A little bit? Would be nice, no? O Lord, I'm the slave of the Sadguru. My forehead has been branded with his brand. I owe such a great debt to the Guru. He has been so generous and kind to me. He has carried me across the treacherous and terrifying world ocean. Those who do not have love for the Lord within their hearts harbor only false intentions and goals. As paper breaks down and dissolves in water, the self-willed Manmukh wastes away in arrogant pride. Yeah. So here, he's really expressing how much he's indebted to the Guru. Of course, not materially, financially or something. Because any financial debt you can pay off eventually somehow. But this kind of debt, who can repay that? The one who constantly gives us everything and in a sense demands nothing and wants nothing from us other than what is ultimately truly best for us. How can you repay such a debt? Because he's given No, all the saints, they always say, whether it's Mirabai, whether it's Guru Ramdas, whether it's Kabir, any saint, at least all the saints which Guruji praises so much, they always praise their Guru and one particular aspect of what he's given them. They always praise the name which the Guru has given them, because that is such a priceless gift that no one else can give you. You cannot pick it up in books. You cannot pick it up on the internet. You can chant some mantra which you pick up from a book, from the internet, but it's not going to be the same, because it's only through the Guru that this name inside is truly activated and brings us to this place, to this state in which all the saints dwell. Only the Sadguru can do that. Yeah, someone else cannot do that. And that doesn't have a price. What price can you put on the name of God that takes you to eternal liberation? What price can you pay? All material creation, even if you put together all material creation, it's still limited. Yeah? And that's kind of the deal we're in. We're trading something limited against something unlimited. We're giving so little compared to what we're actually receiving. No? And saints such as Guru Ramdas, they realize that. They really see the value in what they've received. And this is also a matter of gratitude, because only in a spirit of gratitude can we even begin to appreciate that. Can we even begin to see that? How much the Guru has done for us. If you reflect on your own life, where you were and where you are now, it's very different, no? So he continues with this, on this theme. The Guru has lovingly implanted the Naam, the name of the Lord, within me. I'm a sacrifice to the Sadguru. Without the Sadguru, the name of the Lord is not found. Even though people may perform hundreds of thousands, even millions of rituals. Without destiny, the Sadguru is not found. Even though he sits within the home of our own inner being, always near and close at hand. There is ignorance within and the pain of doubt, like a separating screen. Without meeting with the Sadguru, no one is transformed into gold. Yeah. So the Guru is like a gardener, and he has that seed of the holy name, and he plants it in this body, and it's up to us to water it and turn it into a beautiful plant that gives birth to flowers and fruits. Yeah. And he says so beautifully that this transformation doesn't happen even if you perform hundreds of thousands, even millions of rituals. No? Actually, just now, a couple of days ago, one devotee was sharing a very deeply personal story, how he wasn't necessarily in line with Guruji's teachings, and he was performing, certain rituals and whatever, but he wasn't really following the Adesh of Guruji, and in what a terrible, terrible place he ended up. How many of you heard that story? It was a shocking story, no? That if you try to, kind of outsmart the Guru, if you're trying to do it better than what the Guru is teaching you, then we go into a very dangerous, wrong direction. No? And this might sound fanatical or whatever, but I'm sure it's everybody's experience of all of you here in this room. No? That how great calamities happen when we deviate from what the Guru is really telling us to do. And when we hold on to him and his teachings, it doesn't mean that our life is free from troubles, free from difficulties, but we go through them because he's carrying us through each one of them. Because he's saying, he sits within the home of our own inner being, always near and close at hand. So he's always there. Even if we feel abandoned, even if we think he doesn't acknowledge us, he doesn't love us, whatever, he's always there, watching, guiding, helping. Yeah. But we cannot perceive that because here he's saying, there is ignorance within, which is like a separating screen. Yeah? You know, in some of these movies, you must have seen when the police is doing some interrogation and there's like it looks like a mirror, but it's actually like a glass which only reflects from one side. Yeah? But you cannot see who's sitting there, but they can see you. Is it not the same? He's always there, he's always seeing us, but we cannot see him. Because from his side, he has a clear view, but from our side, our view is blocked because there's this veil. There's this veil of Maya which separates us, which doesn't make us perceive that. And we hold on to that veil for dear life. We don't want it to crack. And he's knocking from the other side and saying, I'm there. Yeah. And so essentially what Guru Ram Das is saying is very much what Guruji is saying here in his talk. It was a satsang actually in March of 2023. He says, Bhakti develops only through Guru Kripa, nothing else. So Kripa is grace or mercy. Please don't ask what's the difference between grace and mercy, because people always ask that question. Bhakti develops only through Guru Kripa, nothing else. If one thinks that by one going to the temple, to churches, or elsewhere, devotion will increase like that, this is a misunderstanding. It's exactly what is said here. Without the Sadguru, the name of the Lord is not found, even though people may perform hundreds of thousands, even millions of rituals. Whether you perform these rituals by going to the temple, to the church, or anywhere else, devotion will not increase without Guru Kripa. Yeah. And this is really a misunderstanding which many people have, even those who consider themselves very religious and very spiritual and everything. You know, because they want to connect to the Lord, but they want to develop devotion to Him, but this devotion comes through the grace of the Guru only. It doesn't come otherwise. Yeah. And if you read any teachings of any of the saints which Guruji praises, they all say that. Okay. And Guruji says it even more strongly here in his Guru Gita commentary. Whether it is singing bhajans, dancing for the divine, giving katha, so talking, and acting the pastimes of Bhagwan, doing puja, sadhana, japam. So puja is worship, external, sadhana, it's like meditative practices, spiritual practices. Japam is chanting God's name. Writing the glory of Bhagwan, painting, drawing, visiting holy places, taking a dip in the holy rivers, meditating in the temple, receiving blessings from Bhagwan or the saints. All this is pointless without the Sadguru. Amazing, no? But yet, many people in the world, they do all of that. They sing bhajans, they sing for the divine, they give katha, even big stage. They enact the pastimes of Bhagwan, they do puja, they do sadhana, they do japam, they write the glory of Bhagwan, they paint the Lord, they draw. They visit holy places, they take dips in holy rivers, they meditate, they receive blessings, they go to many places of pilgrimage. But all of that is pointless without the Sadguru. So if we meditate on this importance of the Guru in our life, then how would gratitude not develop? How would our pride not gradually and gradually become less and less and less and less? But all this happens if we really take these teachings to heart, which he's given, which all the saints have given, which our Sadguru has personally given, and he's still giving them continuously, whether it's in satsang, whether it's on Twitter or now X, whether it's on commentaries such as his commentaries on Narada Bhakti Sutra, Shandilya Bhakti Sutra, Guru Gita. It's really up to us to really imbibe these words. And it's really interesting. If you look at the Sikh tradition, their eternal Guru is the Guru Granth Sahib. And these are the words, the Bhani of the Gurus. Because they believe that these words are so transformative that they themselves deserve such praise and such honor. And so how fortunate are we that not only do we have the teachings of Guruji in our life, but we literally have him walking among us. Yeah. And so while we have the time to be so fortunate, I hope that we can all just make the best out of it by really putting our minds on the right thing and developing this trust that no matter what we're going through, he's always there and he's always guiding us. Jai Gurudev. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. Prem se bolo Sadgurudev Shri Swami Vishwananda Mahaprabhu ki Jai.